What's going on, everybody? It is your favorite podcast, Ball Up Top, where the ball don't stop. We got Tyler, we got Andrew with the analysis you need. We got me, your girl Shawnee, with the hate you want. And folks, it's some stuff going on in the W.
Dude, I suck at hosting shit. You just balled me up, dude. Oh my goodness.
Hey, hold on, man.
Ball Up Top where the ball don't stop is a banger, dog. Tyler and I looked at him like,
damn.
That's called motherfucking bars.
Damn, dude.
What made you go with that bar?
Look, we got half-court sets on Ball Up Top. We got transition offense on Ball Up Top. Like, we can beat you in multiple ways. We got offense on Ball Up Top.
What made you go with that verse?
Please, keep going. Please just move back. Go.
So, we have some stuff going on in the W. Just in case you've been in a coma, we're here to get you caught up. The trade deadline has been active. Is this the most active trade deadline we've had?
Dude, I can't believe it.
I don't want to speak like dramatically, but I can speak about home field dramatically. They are the greatest merch out. The greatest. Just you got to go get some. And when you do get some, use code NOCAP15 to get 15% off your first purchase. And if it's not your first purchase, tell somebody to get it for you so that it can be their first purchase and they get the 15. Like, we come up with solutions around here. Either way, we just need you to get the home field merch because college season is coming. And if you're not repping your squad, you can't talk your junk. That's the new rule. There's an entry fee.
If you don't got home field merch, you can't hate. Is crazy. But you know what? I can kind of get behind it, especially with how great that No Cap Space collection is. Like, come on now. We curated it for you. We got you covered.
Handpicked. That's not even an exaggeration. Handpicked.
We were in the booth
and put it together for you guys. So if you ain't flossing and you ain't decked out, you can't hate. Those are the rules. But
this has been like an award-winning 3 minutes right off rip.
This is great.
Tyler and I might never host this show ever.
Dude,
again.
I'm gonna get like imposter syndrome now because I'm not Shawnee whenever I'm hosting. Like, dude, this is ridiculous.
You wouldn't be the first.
This is honeymoon phase. That second game magic. That's when it's real. That's when it's real.
What a hell of a full episode debut for the YouTube. Like this is
my God.
Great stuff. This is great.
Is this the most active trade deadline in the history of the W? I want like Tyler.
It's only like 2 trades, but I think the answer is still yes. It certainly feels like it from like a name value perspective. Like I think I made a joke like in the lead up to this trade deadline where I'm like, I think the biggest thing that we've seen in recent years was like Marina Mabry getting moved from Chicago to Connecticut. And like no disrespect to Marina Mabry, but like no thanks. That can't be your biggest trade deadline move. And now you get an all-star move this year in Brittney Sykes. You get DiJonai Carrington, who is a most improved player, who certainly has like name value motion in that way as well. Like is a genuinely winning player for a contending team in the Lynx, not just contending, but one of the best teams, if not the best team in the entire league. Like, so it's easily immediately had some of the most impact of a trade deadline that I can remember. Like, if not from a volume perspective, surely from a name value perspective.
Okay, and let's talk about that because you had a video. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube, you should go do that because we had some emergency videos go up and you would have known this information immediately. You would have been able to argue with Tyler almost in real time.
And people did. People did.
For those that don't know, Brittney Sykes was traded from the Washington Mystics to the Seattle Storm. That's the biggest name value. Zia Cook was also moved. Alicia Clark was moved. Zia Cook was waived. There were some picks involved. Washington got what the second. See, this is where
Washington gets the Seattle first round pick, which is notable because Seattle also owns the Sparks and Aces pick. So Seattle gave up the worst of their 3 first round picks in this coming draft in order to get Brittney Sykes on what is potentially a rental, but you still have 2 better first round picks still on hand. So if you're gonna do a trade like this, you give up 2 players that aren't really doing much for you, and your worst first round pick.
Hey, watch out!
That's a hell of a deal for an all-star player. I don't care if it's a rental or not. Given the situation, it doesn't get much better than that.
So, having said that, we have DiJonai Carrington from the Dallas Wings to the Minnesota Lynx. Diamond Miller's moved to Dallas. Bless her heart. Let's start off with some initial thoughts, and then I kind of want to go into the grades of the 4 teams on how they pulled it off. Andrew, we'll start with you. Your just initial thoughts.
I find it very crazy that the notion of having an active trade deadline comes when the biggest stars in 3/4 of the league are on contracts that, realistically speaking, shouldn't be tradable deals, right? Like, damn near everybody is up this offseason in free agency to align with the new CBA. And I think what's crazy is, in most situations, trading an expiring deal is something like a team that's buying or a team that is really trying to contend is willing to take on. But there's at least an idea that they're going to re-sign them potentially. In this situation, there's no promise. It's basically going to be the Wild West in terms of what this offseason is going to bring. And yet, people, even knowing that the 2026 and 27 and 28 drafts are going to be really deep with talent, people are still willing to go all in to win now. And I think that is kind of an interesting through line here of, like, the owners clearly seem to know that the attention around the league is only increasing. They only know, or they know that this is only going to get bigger. And it's like, okay, if we can win a title now, that's going to raise the prestige of our franchise potentially, especially going into, a free agency period when some of the biggest stars are all available, and we're probably going to have a lot more cap money to play with. So if you are Seattle and you want to go all in, or you are Minnesota and you want to go all in, or even New York, going all in by getting Emma Miesemann and signing her and bringing her over from Belgium, like, it all ends up being this chase for a championship, which is what I want to see the best teams in the league do. I am jury's out on Seattle for me. I think it's the right move from a personnel standpoint. You get a defensive 2-guard, someone to kind of fill that void that Jordan Horston has left, but you will also get a second backcourt scoring option that Erica Wheeler, good as she has been at certain points, has just been inconsistent. Sykes is a little more consistent. She gets to the line a little bit more and really rounds out a starting 5 that's, very veteran based. I'm still not sold because Noelle Quinn is still there. And I am genuinely wondering this year, like, is this a situation in which we're going to watch Noelle Quinn as a coach do less with more? Like, to me, this was a move to go all in to win, to stabilize the ship. But dead ass, bro, this also feels like the kind of move from the Storm front office where it's like, if you don't win now, and you don't win with the roster we gave you, like, seats hot, jigs up, And so, to a degree, I think this was one of those things where Seattle is, as a front office, has done everything they can to put their team in a position to succeed in terms of its construction. Now it's kind of put up or shut up. I think Minnesota's case is a little bit different with DiJonai, but Seattle, this feels like a big swing. Also, the Mystics, and Tyler, I think you'll enjoy this. Am I crazy in thinking the Mystics are reheating like this year's Oklahoma City Thunder Sam Presti build? Because it feels I'm just saying, like, think about it this way, right? You have Kiki and Sony already on cost-controlled contracts that are going to look super duper cheap when the CBA takes effect. Now you have a boatload of picks in the next 2 years, which, even if the cap or the rev share increases or rookie contracts increase, you are going to be, you're going to have a lot of cost control deals there too. So that gives you the ability to have a young core of like 4 or 5 people and still go after a max player. And so it gives like SGA Jalen Williams type with this Mystics team. And so, Tyler, I know this is your wheelhouse. But that's Jamila Weideman's giving me a little Sam Presti right now. I can't lie,
dude. I'm telling you right now, seeing these teams, whether it be Dallas going for Diamond Miller or like just seeing teams pivot into young cores and trusting that and trusting what that growth can look like is not something that we've really seen in the WNBA, and it makes my heart incredibly happy. And I think clearly, like as Tank Commander Tyler here, like I think the biggest difference that any team that it's hard to exactly replicate what Oklahoma City was able to do just because of the haul that you get initially and the fact that you get 1 million picks plus SGA. So like it's going to be hard to replicate that in that sense. But in terms of the mindset of going and getting young players, and I think your point about cost control is the most important point because we don't know right now what the CBA is going to look like or anything. But you have players coming in. And we thought maybe initially with last year's class, okay, maybe it's just this class, maybe it's Caitlin, maybe it's Angel that are coming in and like they are really good. There's really not much with now that we have it 2 years in a row. And honestly, outside of Paige, there's arguments you could say like this is one of the quote unquote weaker classes that we're gonna see in the next 4 years or so, like that we know of right now. And if they're still this good, having cost controlled rookies for the next 4 years, give or take, and being able to build around that, who is to say that you can't go and have the similar success, a similar trajectory of growth that you see from the Oklahoma City Thunder? So I'm not even thinking about it from like the gaining of picks, but ultimately, if you can draft well, you have the ability to go and craft these young teams, but it's about trusting them and it's about making the tough decision to know when to lean young. And I think Washington is doing that. And I think that is an absolutely great thing. I mean, that's where I worry about with Dallas in terms of like the long-term build here of like, if you decide to go and keep Arike, are you actually pivoting to that young build and that young mindset? I don't think so. So that's where I think Washington right now is probably possibly my favorite like young rebuild. Even if they don't have like their super duper superstar yet, they are still in my eyes the best mindset right now in terms of how they want to rebuild and the kind of trajectory they want to go on. I love it. Like in a trade where it was probably hard. I don't know what the Sykes market would look like. Generally speaking, if in most years, I think Sykes is probably worth more than what they got. But being able to go with the CBA looming, with it being a rental, with everything going on, if you're able to go and get a first round pick in this coming draft, you take that as a win. When you could have probably pretty easily gone and kept it, right? But I think the biggest thing because I don't know why people are so afraid to tank in the WNBA in terms of reactions. That was the thing that was like in the comments to the video I made. People are like, they're throwing away the season. Hell yeah, they are. Absolutely. Yes. Because if you don't end up in the lottery, if you make the playoffs, not only are you out of the lottery, you're behind 2 expansion teams in the draft. You are going from losing potentially the number 1 overall pick to drafting like what, 7, 8, like depending on how this works out. It is a massive difference. So for that alone, the trade's a win. Just tank. Just tank.
I kind of want to get big brain here because Andrew said something and it sparked something in me, right? So the Oklahoma City method. What did it all start with? Russell Westbrook. Where did Russell Westbrook spend one season? Washington, D.C. Who was he training with? The Mystics.
I like this.
Russell Westbrook.
This is the stupidest Westbrook thread I've ever heard from you.
Russell Westbrook's fingerprints are all over the W.
He's over all the championships. This hat, we're going to get a Mystics hat over here. That's also a Westbrook championship hat. Come on now.
It all starts with him.
Rename the Chris Paul Advocacy Award, the Russell Westbrook Advocacy Award.
Amen.
So I do want to share something in terms of how I think who won the actual draft or the actual trade. Seattle, just off of the picture alone.
Not the
the unction. The unction is actually crazy.
Crazy.
For those listening to the pod, it's a meme with the unction, and it's the entire Storm starting 5. But it's so true, though.
They pushed the faces on the uncles and said it's the unction because the Storm are kind of, and I say this like, those are my peers, but like They are kind of.
Every tweet I saw about their age, the age got higher. Like it started at like, dang, they got an average age of like 34, don't they? And then by the end of the night, it was like 39. I was like, how did we add like 6-7 years here to the unction? Like, guys, please.
Unction is aging like fine wine, and that's also something. You don't get younger, but you do get better. Because I mean, yeah, you trade it for an older player, but it's like, you know,
you
she's a
Alicia
lockdown.
Clark.
Yes, and so you did actually, yeah, you did get younger because she was like 37.
Something like that.
She's
Like,
she's hosting the unction.
Okay. You know what's crazy though? All right, so to give you an idea on actual ages, Skylar's 35, Ezzy's 25, Neck is 35, Sykes is 31, Gabby is 28. So yeah, bro, like it is a veteran team. Tiff Mitchell's 30, Eweezy's 34, Katie Lou's 28, and then Lexi Brown is 30. So like outside of
the unction.
Yeah, like outside of Dominique Malonga and Ezzy and Mackenzie Holmes, there's 3 players on this team under the age of 25. So I'm really curious how this all works come free agency, but like
shut up, Tyler.
No, this is great. This is a roster that entirely remembers Tumblr. And
I remember. They remember
that because I don't. I wasn't around.
Welcome to the unction, bruh. Like Shawnee and I welcome you. Like we are here for this.
Seattle, get your Razor phones out. Get your Motorola's out. We're playing Snake in the stadium, baby. Let's go. So
the Crazer with Temple Runners, or no, Zuma.
Oh yeah, get your Zooms out. Oh man, I still got my Sony Walkman, my Sony little MP3 Walkman. Get your iPod Nanos, man. It's what
speaking a different language right now. I don't.
Seattle Storm. If you have Y2K night in Climate Change Arena, I will be there. I will figure it out. I will be there.
Did you say Climate Change?
Whatever it's called. You know where they play. You need to lean into it, Seattle. We don't have many more third spaces for people our age or any age, actually. So
I was going to say there's a crisis among the greatest generation.
So I would say
God, that's so funny.
I agree with Andrew. I like the trade. I just don't trust Noelle Quinn right now. It's giving somebody called her Nielle Quinn, and I was like, uh-oh.
No.
And they did it on accident. That was the funniest part.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah,
so much worse.
No, it was like I got my underachieving coaches mixed up. Sorry.
That's even crazier.
Damn. It keeps getting worse. It keeps getting worse.
So it's like I need her to like get it together because they just lost last night to Minnesota. So I'm a little
without Fee for the first time. Notably.
Yeah, so that's a little embarrassing because what are you doing? So I would say they won. Paige keeps running off Black women. So how is she getting away with this?
Shawnee!
How is she getting no, because like she is not started. She's not playing with the same team she started with. And somebody just pointed out one of the homies in the chat. So please stop arguing with him when he argues with me on the timeline. Like, it's fine. We're good. He just pointed out, he was like, yeah, they're 1 win away from last year's total. And I was like, ew, Paige is getting them back to lottery status? That's kind of disgusting. I don't know why the bar is so low. It's scraping hell right now, but that's y'all's girl. Go ahead and do it. I just know she keeps running off all these Black vets that have had a place in the league that were picks themselves, and everybody keeps letting them get away with it.
Yes,
but we'll see.
This is Diamond.
Diamond. No, Diamond came to the like. She's in hell. So now it's just like Paige is not making this team better because Greg Bibb is still there. So until Paige goes, I can't say that on air.
This is I just want to reference how amazing this is. That this actually to really go 180 on the take. This isn't actually Paige hate. This is Dallas Wings you hate. This is like
it goes way back.
Old. This is like hate of lore from franchises past. That
Speaking
isn't
of
even
which,
about
subscribe to
Caitlyn
our
or about
Substack. We have
Greg
Lore of
Sampson.
the League. We have Lore of the
We're on the
League,
way.
where we talk about this very subject.
We
Dallas
did, yes.
Wings University is up now. You can go read it now. The Dallas Wings have been a complete crap show from its inception, and it's only getting worse. Paige, you're powerless to stop this. It was in motion before you were born 30 years ago, and it's still coming. It's still coming. I'm sorry. There's nothing you can do about it.
The inevitable Paige first team all WNBA is going to break your brain. And I'm telling you, it's coming. I'm telling you.
No, and see, here's the thing. I'm okay with that if it comes at the expense of Sabrina.
Always, this is definitive. Always remember where you came from.
Like
Never forget.
Somehow Shawnee never loses because there's always another agenda to rely on. Like,
because everybody is switching up. I stay 10 toes about mine. I still don't like Sabrina. Everybody's like, Sabrina was universally loved. Is my hating in vain? Are my tweets ghost fan?
This is you going back to like the Carmelo Anthony jab step. Like whenever Melo's in trouble, whenever the world is crumbling down around him, whenever he's trying to give you hoodie videos from 24-hour fitness about how he's right for this, it's always the jab step midi. This is the Sabrina hate is your jab step midi. You just always come back to it.
Face-up game is crazy. It's always
old reliable. Old reliable.
You know what's so funny though is like I am actually through all of this higher on Dallas in light of the trades. Like I'm crazy in thinking about this. I'm higher on Dallas's roster now than I was at the start of the year. Because at the start of the year, I'm like, I can see how this works, but I don't really love the construction. Now I'm looking at the roster and I'm like, you're going all in on youth aside from Enrique, really. So yeah. Let's cook. This is what it should have been at the start of the year. I don't get it.
Excuse me. You kind of got rid of all the, I don't want to say dead weight, but like all the people that didn't want to be there. Because it was a lot of people that didn't want to be there.
You saw DiJonai's quote, right? Like it was after the Minnesota game, after her debut, first time I've had fun playing basketball all season. I'm like, ew. I wonder how Nolan feels about that.
And this is what I was talking about. You knew she was going to do that. So when I was talking about the professionalism after the trade happened, I was like, I already knew this was going to happen. So let's see what happens after the honeymoon comes off. Because, everybody is always glowing when they, it was fine when you leave Egypt. What happens when you're in the wilderness before the land of milk and honey? Like, are you okay? Are you okay then? So I'm gonna wait to see how this plays out. I think Minnesota did get better in that. I give them a B. So. I give them a B. I give Seattle a B. I give Dallas a B. Actually, everybody.
You're just not really moved all around.
It's like nobody. Like there's only so much that can happen within the WNBA in terms of trades. Like we're not gonna really see like a Luka blockbuster. No. That just that's typically
that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So it's like for all things considered, I think everybody kind of knocked it out the park, given what y'all were saying about, like what their goals are. So I actually like what Dallas did because you get somebody in there who I think she could make a shake for Dallas. Like, I think she wasn't fully utilized. She wasn't healthy all the time in Minnesota. So now she gets there.
Diamond, right?
Yes, Diamond. Yeah. And if she doesn't, Paige has made yet another person around her better. Because I would like to point out that Enrique was all-star MVP playing alongside Caitlyn for one game. So, I don't know, man. All guards are not. All white number one picks are not created the same. I just want to say that
this is ridiculous.
Speaking of,
this is the pivot away immediately.
No rebuttal. Just let's stop it. We can't give Shawnee the power.
Where's my gavel?
She can't get to hate like this and then pivot away with like unscathed. She can't host.
I can't wait.
No one hater should have all this power.
I can't wait for this first team all WNBA. I can't wait. I truly
Oh,
cannot wait for Paige
we're
to get
gonna
this.
have discussions on it because it's Skylar. I need you to pick it up. That's exactly why I'm like Seattle. You're in my crosshairs right now because I got Alicia Gray in the guard spot for first team, so I need Skylar to take the second spot and knock it out complete. Because if Paige and Sabrina both don't make it, then I really win, and nobody wants to see that.
No.
But again, speaking of white number 1 picks, Kelsey Plum and the loss, Angela Sparks.
Great
are
segue.
the
I was so
kryptonite
lost where
of
we
the
were going.
Caitlin Clark. They are the kryptonite of the Caitlin Clarkless Fever. I don't know why the Fever can beat everybody in the league except the Sparks without Caitlin Clark. Like that,
Dude.
That I think that's to keep it humble and remind them, like, yeah, you do need your superstar. Like, she's necessary. They're cooking right now.
They're so good. And
they figured it out. Shout out to my oldest, most improved daughter, Azare Stevens, friend of the pod.
Period.
Like,
it
it makes my heart smile seeing her do so well. Some people are talking about, like, most improved, and I kind of feel like there should be an age cutoff. Like, she's almost 30. So
well, never too late.
No,
never too late. I'm in this.
She's still in her 20s. Yeah, so then she qualifies. I think at 30, like, you should stop that. It's just like congratulations to where you're at. Welcome to the unction. You've reached your peak.
Welcome to the unction.
You can't be most improved and in the unction. You gotta.
Yeah, no, like this. Just stop.
You gotta pick.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
But no, Azare is cooking. Kelsey Plum, bruh.
It's gotta be tough. It gotta be tough as an Aces fan to see this.
I mean, yes and no, because like when she was there, I'm not gonna lie, like we weren't yelling at her. Like when she was doing the little skipping, it's like, Kelsey, you better Kelsey, swing the ball. So it's like, I'm not gonna act like she was absolutely appreciated while she was there. But yeah, she's cooking. We could absolutely use her. Jewel Lloyd could absolutely go to practice, study her, take some notes, maybe bring them back. Jewel Lloyd needs to go to dog camp. That's my hot take.
Becky's going to send her to Wolves camp, not dog camp.
Yeah, you don't need dogs there. They got wolves.
They only got wolves.
They got wolves, so they don't.
She's going to be sitting there watching Animal Planet like Kobe, except that's not going to help you on defense, sister. But we have Kelsey Plum, 25 points. Azare Stevens, 19. 5 of 5 from 3 for Azare. 7 of 8 from the field. Turn my girl up. Kelsey Plum, 25 points, 11 assists. De'Erica Hamby, 16 points, 7 rebounds. Rakia Jackson.
Dude.
Boop, boop.
Dude.
Rakia Jackson, 25 points, 5 rebounds on 10 of 18 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3.
And it was looking like those threes last night looked, I don't know what, like the smoothness of the shot was ridiculous. But Rakia Nowitzki with all the fadeaways,
Rakia Nowitzki? What did you just say to me?
Rakia Nowitzki, bro, with the fadeaways in the paint, dude. I'm not gonna go too deep into it because I might make a larger video on what Rakia.
Tease the ISO here.
But Rakia Jackson, look across the league right now. How many small forwards do you see? I see 2s. I see 4s. How many small forwards do you really see? It's a very, very rare.
It's her. I wrote this in our monthly mailbag because we had a viewer question about this. And I wrote it out in the mailbag, which you can find on nocapspacewbb.com, because there was an argument about Gabby Williams having a DPOY potential. And my thing was, there isn't a lot of small forwards and true wings in the league where like she gets a DPOY level one-on-one matchup the way like we put Fee and Asia on this pedestal, right? Of like, if Fee clamps Asia, that's a DPOY case right there. And the only person that I could come up with as an analog to Gabby was Rakia Jackson. Because you think about like Alyssa Thomas is a point forward, realistically speaking. Asia and classified as bigs. I think you'd classify De'Erica Hamby as a big or a 4. like they're positionless. Satu maybe is in that wing conversation.
I think like one of like Ryan and Alicia Gray would be one of those.
She is the first. She's the first true wing. She's the first like or the making an argument, I would say, in year 2 for being the best wing in the WNBA. And part of that is because there's not it's not a position that is flush with talent right now. And some of that too, I think, is just because of the nature of the W, right? Like in the NBA, where the height variances can range from like 6'1" to 6'10, naturally, if you're somewhere between like 6'5" and like 6'7", 6'8", like that puts you kind of right in the wing category in the middle. But because we have bigs in the W that can classify as like 6'3", right? Or even 6'2" in some cases, you don't have a height and length that really is a definitive wing. You can have someone like Rikia or Gabby who's like in between 6'2" and 6'3", but as easily as you could be a 6'2" wing, you could be a 6'2" guard or a 6'2" forward. It's very strange how that works, which makes that 3 spot kind of this funky place where we don't know where to put you. But Rikia, to your point, Tyler, and I'm saving some of your ISO so you can say,
don't take my ISO, video. Man. Hold on.
I'm not gonna take the full ISO here, but to me, Rikia is like, her game is reminiscent of like an NBA player from an era gone by, right? Like we don't see a lot of wings in the men's game that do what she does anymore. And this is one of the things that I love about the WNBA so much, is because the game and the analytics to a degree and just the physical makeup of these players, like it lags and is a little bit different than the men's game. To me, that allows us to maintain a semblance of a mid-range game. It allows us to have a semblance of, what analytics in the men's game would say are lower efficiency shots. And the concern that people had about Lynn Roberts and her approach to the game and how that would affect Rikia Jackson at the start of the year, I had it either on Substack or Blue Sky, I can't remember where, but I said, if anyone's going to learn how to do this, it's going to be Lynn. Because if you look at that Utah team that made it to the Sweet 16, that realistically, and people forget, that's a Final Four team if Jenna Johnson doesn't miss 2 free throws against LSU. Angel Reese doesn't get that rebound. That's a Final Four team, high key. And they matched up well enough with Iowa that they very legitimately could have been a national championship level team that year. But Lynn Roberts has never had a player to that level. She's never had a player to Rikia Jackson's level before. And everyone should have known better that Lynn was going to make it work. She was going to figure out what she had. And clearly there was a conversation between her and Rikia that happened earlier this year when Sarah Ashley Barker's minutes were higher. Rikia's friend gets on Twitter and puts Lynn Roberts on blast. Since that happened, the minutes for Rikia have increased and the shots have increased. And what we saw last night that I think is worth mentioning, the most shot attempts on the team is not Kelsey Plum. It's not De'Erica Hamby or Azurá Stevens. It's Rikia Jackson. And that's something that I think people need to take into account, is like, there is a clearly defined role for Rikia now. And with Cam Brink back, even though she went 0 for 6 on Tuesday night, watching her defensively fills the gap that we were talking about. The sparks are here. I'm ready to take this victory lap. The patience has paid off. This was the right move. LA is on the come up, bro. I'm telling you, they're 9th seed. They're a game behind right now. They're going to make the playoffs. They are going to do this.
All right, hey, where's the notebook?
I got a whiteboard. I got a whiteboard if you need it down. Look,
sticky notes.
Here's the thing.
We had a member of our paid tier. Tyler, you go. Sorry.
Dude, if you make, I don't know, man. My thing is, I completely agree with everything you just said. Let me note that until the very end. Because congratulations on being in the middle.
Oops.
What is that supposed to do for me? I know you don't have your picks. Like, this year's a weird year. Like, in that, like this year, like making the playoffs is like a genuinely good thing. But like, and I can acknowledge the fact they are playing incredible basketball right now. But like, you're still stuck in 2 timelines. You could have Dominique Malonga right now, and like, it still pains me to think about that. Like, so I still like am not completely sold. Like, if you go and you give up Dominique Malonga for a first round exit, I don't know how I feel about that in the long term. But Kelsey Plum, but like if you're looking in the present, like hindsight will tell us who was right and who was wrong in this. But in the present, the Sparks are playing ridiculous basketball, and Cameron Brink came back better defensively, and that's ridiculous. When she's
still gonna foul.
She had 5 blocks last night. Only 2 fouls.
Not
only 2 fouls last night. Okay,
that's a blessing because I
fouls?
saw one of them get like when she do that volleyball stuff where she throws her whole body and like goes 2 hands. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, but I'll tell you right now, as great as like the block stat was, that's not even what stood out to me. When she stopped Kelsey Mitchell on that fast break and like was just moving her feet and like some of the perimeter defense against Kelsey Mitchell, who has probably the fastest first step in the entire league in terms of like just getting by people, and you're keeping her in front of you while also not fouling, while also contending shots, while also forcing her into turnovers. That is ridiculous for Cameron Brink to be able to do. Like, she comes in coming off this ACL injury, which had one of like the longest timelines that I've seen from like an ACL perspective. And I know I kind of talked about like how she returns could potentially change the thought process on like the length that players take depending on each individual situation, of course. But like, she's coming back and is immediately a top defender in the league, like 3, 5,
6.
like I don't know exactly where that lands, but like the fact that you're able to come in here essentially still in your rookie season of sorts, like you're in year 2, like you didn't get to play your full rookie year, you're coming off an injury and immediately playing defense of this caliber is absolutely ridiculous. And that, to me, as great as all the other players have been, that immediately is changing the outlook for the Sparks, is just adding that defensive capability that Brink does.
You know, it's amazing. Held Aaliyah Boston to 6 of 15 shooting. And it's
you don't hey.
No, bro. And here's all right. So here's why I bring this up, right? The toughest matchups for AB this year from a shooting standpoint have been New York when matched up against Jonquel, have been against Vegas when matched up against Asia Wilson. And then there's this kind of one weird aberration game in that loss to Golden State back in early July. But for the most part, she's handled everybody else pretty darn well. And 6 of 15 against Cam Brink and Azare. And to your point, Sean, like, I don't know what it is about the Sparks that they seem to have Indiana's number when Caitlin's not in the lineup. But I buy in on this vision. Like, I really do. I buy in on what we're getting and when. And to me, and this is where Tyler and I diverge on this, is like, I feel like this is the type of team that can do both. Because you have such a mix and range of ages here that I don't see the rookies as the core to build around. I see them as the augments for the veteran core that you actually have, which is Hamby and Plum. You have Rakia and you have Cam, and that's a bridge era to get you to. And again, like it is with Washington, cost-controlled rookie contracts, at least for another year or two. But I feel like they are built properly. Yes, you could have Dominique Malonga for the next 10 years, but I think what you got with KP is just, it rounds out this team in a big way, because we saw what they were last year with no point guard, and it was obvious what they needed, and they ended up getting it. So like I said, I'm big on this LA team. I've always been a big believer in Lynn Roberts. She still to this day, one of my absolute favorite coaches, and I'm sorry that I accidentally called you old in 2020, Lynn. I'm very sorry about that.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa, you just slide that one at the end. Okay,
Lynn, Ocean too?
Great segue for a fun story. So Pac-12 women's basketball tournament, spring of 2020. So literally a week before the pandemic shut the world down. And Charlie Turner-Thorne, the Arizona State coach, retires like after ASU loses, I want to say in like the first or second round. And so I'm there, reporting on Oregon and Oregon State from my station in Eugene. But I made a kind of broader Pac-12 story for my night side turn. That was basically like Charlie Turner-Thorne's impact on all of these, coaches and players. And so I found out that like Lynn and Charlie went like way back. Like when Lynn was a player, she attended one of Charlie's camps and Charlie was a head coach. And so I thought I was like asking this great heartfelt story from like the fucking press conference days. And I'm like, like Charlie's been a fixture of the league for a long time. Like, as I understand, like you went to one of her camps when you were young. How does it feel? What's her impact on the Pac-12? Lynn looks me dead in the fucking eye, chuckles and goes, "Thanks for telling everybody I'm old." and I'm like, in the back, and I'm like, I'm 25, 26 at this point. So like I've got enough journalistic experience that like I feel okay asking the question, but I'm still young enough that I'm like, shit.
That rocks you. Uh-oh, did I mess that up?
She's never gonna fucking speak to me again. To the point where I went up to her after the presser and I was like, I am so sorry. Like, I did not mean to blast you like that. And not that she would remember, but that interaction sticks.
But Andrew sure didn't forget.
Yeah, no, those moments when you think like you're cooking and the coach is actually like, God dang it. And you're like, what did I? I think I've made a horrible mistake. But I mean, it's like if you were at the camp and that's knowledge, I'm sorry you're a part of Legendarium. I don't know what to tell you, sister. You gotta just straight up own it up. I would like to make note that last year, in the heat of all of the Caitlyn versus Angel stuff, that Rakia got lost in the shuffle. And if we had actually been able to multitask, we could have put the pressure on Kurt Miller and asked why he's not giving her minutes, because we could have been seeing some of this last year. And I was trying to tell people that, like, yo, she would have made Rookie of the Year real fun. Like, if she was playing last year, like she's playing right now, after, I subscribed to our Substack because we had an article come out on how all of the rookies went through the gauntlet their first week and how all of them stacked up against the top competition that they faced that hellacious week. So we talked about it. And we also talked about Rakia not getting a whole bunch of minutes, and it was kind of baffling. So then imagine if she's now cooking like this last year, while Caitlyn was cooking how she was cooking last year, while Angel was cooking how she was cooking last year. We could have got a full race from start to finish, and it wouldn't have been solely just all of that stuff, all of that stuff. We could have got real, actual, ethical hoop talk. And now, like, she should redshirt. She'd be Rookie of the Year this year.
Like, full Embiid Rookie of the Year campaign.
Exactly. Run it back. Back.
Paige wearing like the rookie definition shirt, like Donovan Mitchell would be like.
So I can call her lame. Yeah, let's do it.
Wicked.
I like it.
Wicked.
So we are in agreement that the Sparks are the hottest team right now.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's
I would say, like, and what's interesting, I will just note real quick, they on record are what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 winners of 7 of their last 8, and that one loss came to the Aces, who just kind of like woke up,
finally got it together.
But here's the craziest thing of all. This is I think this is a fascinating like look into how good the Sparks have been for people since July 3rd. So over a month of data at this point. Their only losses are the Liberty, the Lynx, and the Aces. They have beaten Indiana, Seattle, New York once, Connecticut, Washington twice, Connecticut again, Indiana again. Like, they've been here, man. They've been the best team in the league statistically for the last 30 days, which is remarkable for a team that entered July 5-13. Like, crazy.
That on Sabrina's watch, the Liberty are now less than the Sparks.
It's a
not
shame
all
that...
number 1 white guards are created equal.
This is not the thread of the show being number 1 white guards. We're not.
I'm gonna take up for Sabrina here, because this is.
Oh God! Please don't start this right now.
This is a dance that Shawnee and I have done for years at this point. I'm gonna end up taking up for Paige in the same realm now. But
why do you hate me? No, let's talk about that before we get into this.
Year when Sabrina is averaging 25 and 5 is nuts. Like
Kelsey Mitchell
yes,
numbers.
Kelsey
Mitchell numbers. Kelsey Mitchell numbers.
And are you going to deny a black woman a shot at a first
Oh God
WNBA nod, Shawnee? My goodness.
I was getting ready to say Kelsey Mitchell. I was gonna try and segue into a conversation because when I said Alicia Gray first team, I'm like Kelsey Mitchell also has a very strong case for first team. Like Caitlin's been injured, she stepped up tremendously, but that's not really the topic I was trying to get us to. Andrew, real quick. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Subscribe to our Substack. 5 Out was masterfully done about the flowers deserved by the Mohegan Sun tribe by our very own Andrew. It puts the Connecticut Sun really in perspective. To me, as a hater, like we beat them for one of those championships, and I thank you for your service, Connecticut Sun. Like you did your job, man. We'll always remember the AT Jonquil beef, but real quick, you had some thoughts on what's going on in terms of the ownership battle.
Yes. So I wanted to touch on this real quick because there have been some additional reports that have come out in the last few days since 5 Out ran on Monday. And there's this discussion about where this is all going to conclude, right? Ex-Milwaukee Bucks owner Mark Lasry is apparently in the mix for a bid, but Annie Costable's front office sports reporting was the thing that I wanted to touch on. That allegedly, according to sources that talked to Annie for this piece, that Steve Pagliuca and the Connecticut Sun have had a deal on the table for some time to buy and then potentially relocate the team. And it's been on Kathy Engelbert's desk for like 2 months. And it was not brought to the NBA or the WNBA Board of Governors for final approval. And to me, it opened up an interesting discussion about at what point do we start getting into antitrust territory? Because the argument that I made was, if you are the WNBA, you don't want a team to be bought and relocated to Boston. You want the expansion fees associated with a new Boston franchise straight up. Because if Pagliuca pays like $325 million for the Sun and moves them, that's not going to be the same as the potential $500 million plus you could get for an expansion fee to enter in 2030 or something like that, right? And there is a discussion right now within ownership groups that are prospective investors for the W. And these are people that I have talked to personally, that after the 3 WNBA expansion franchises were announced for Detroit, for Philly, and Cleveland, there were secondary markets like Austin or Nashville that were non-NBA cities that basically said, more or less, we understand that we are in line behind NBA owners now. And, you know, some of that is expediency on the WNBA's part, because the due diligence required to know what owners are making and what their financials are is a lot simpler when your partner league has already done it. So you know that they have the money to be able to sustain and support a team, as opposed to having to do months of due diligence on a prospectively new ownership group whose finances you are not sure about. But for Austin and Nashville in particular, the cap tables, I've been told, would have been some of the highest in the league. Nashville's backed by the Haslams, who are NFL owners. Like, they have billions and billions of dollars. And some of the people that I had been told were connected to the Austin bid were also in the billionaire with a B territory, right? And so I think it's interesting to see how the WNBA manages this, because if the argument that, you know, they have is, we didn't want an ex-minority Celtics owner and Steve Pagliuca owning and moving this team to Boston, we wanted the Chisholm family, which is the current Celtics NBA ownership group, then you're getting into a discussion about picking and choosing who actually gets to own a team in this league. And so this story, I think, is really fascinating to watch, because if it gets to like a head, and if it gets to its most dramatic conclusion, you're talking about an antitrust lawsuit that could lead to the divestment of the NBA and the WNBA. Because if Pagliuca, you know, has a argument to make here that they're fucking up his potential sale that he did with the team, and the team wants it, and it's the league office at the behest of their NBA ownership afforded 32% that's saying no to this, then you are talking about a monopoly on the industry itself and taking that to court for an antitrust suit. So I think that this is one of the most interesting stories that we need to be watching right now, because it's not just about the good stewardship of the Mohegan tribe to understand that it's time to cash out, knowing that you don't have the ability or have different priorities than getting into an arms race with some of these other more moneyed up owners. It's also about how this ends with Pagliuca and how it ends with that investor group. Because if the handshake deal was between the Mohegans and him, and they were ready, and the team was ready, and the Mohegans were ready, and they brought it to Kathy, and Kathy sat on it because she wants to extract more money or wants it to be a different type of ownership group, that is stacking the deck and cooking the books in a way that technically is not legal. And so I am really fascinated in where that is going and how it's going to conclude, because that to me, if you really want to do the nuclear option, has some massive implications for the league and how we discuss it. Because one thing I will note, in light of Annie's report, it makes me feel, and like we talk about this as journalists all the time with the two of you, is like where the leaks come from and who it is that's leaking this news and what they stand to gain from it. I feel like that Boston Globe report was Pagliuca putting it out in the world to twist the WNBA's arm, because if he knew that this deal was sitting on Kathy's desk for 2 months, why wouldn't you go to the press and put it out into the universe and force the WNBA to respond to it? Like that, if he's going to that level and to that length to push that out and put pressure on the league to take his bid and take his agreement with the tribe seriously, and the league is the one fucking around, it feels like it could get wicked. That's all I'm going to say.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I'll say it one more time with emphasis. Please subscribe to our Substack. We have things like this on here. Kathy Engelbert might be going to jail. You heard it here first. We're reporting when she gets hauled off. We will be there in the courtroom.
Oh. No, not we have the Engelbert list. That's so crazy.
Jesus Christ. Next topic, please.
We're so off the rails.
I love this. We should have you host more often. This is the most off the rails we've been in a long time on this.
No, and that's got to be like the title. Kathy Engelbert is going to jail.
No, that is not. This is unethical. This is.
Oh my god.
I'm glad that we're gonna calm this down by talking about Sophie Cunningham on a podcast.
Right, I was gonna say. Speaking
Let's
of
go from
unnecessary
one thing
yapping,
to the next controversy.
Let's do it. Like,
speaking of unnecessary yapping, Sophie Cunningham has a podcast where she tells things that we just finished arguing about so that we can argue about it some more.
Yay.
She's talked about how in Phoenix they said rough Caitlyn up, and it's kind of like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's talked about this week she talked about DeWanna Bonner leaving and how DeWanna just kind of dipped out, and she was like, I'm actually neutral, which surprises people. I just wish she would have sent a text saying like, best of luck, I'm out, and just handled it a little better, but still wish her the best. And I'm kind of like, she quit on the team to go tank a team that was actually cooking before she got there. And I'm not saying that there's a correlation. I'm just saying the timing is a little suspicious, a little weird, if you will. So she said a couple other things, but Tyler, I'll start with you. Just your general thoughts on Sophie Cunningham's thoughts.
Well, okay, I'll put it like this. In a league where we have been begging for storytelling, and that is something that is been like within, like, that's a big part of why we started, if you look at the very root of a lot of what we do, it's about telling the stories. Is this exactly the medium that, like, when I thought about storytelling, that I was like, yes, a Sophie Cunningham podcast, like that is how we get it done? No, that wasn't the solution I had in mind. But like these are things that we have been talking about. We've been talking about the DeWanna Bonner exit. We've been talking about like the idea of Caitlyn being roughed up, you know, and like if that was a real thing and like how that was working, and like these are all like genuine topics that this is now insight that we didn't have before. And like, do I think it's maybe the best for the Indiana Fever in the like? I don't know if that is exactly how I would deem it, but that's with any player podcast. Honestly, anytime you're kind of pulling that curtain back on a team, especially in season, it always kind of can bring up stuff that frankly we don't normally know about. That's in locker room stuff. We would have never known about DeWanna Bonner not sending a text unless Sophie Cunningham says that. And again, from my perspective, as someone who talks about the WNBA, give us all. Hey, I ain't gonna tell you. I ain't gonna unplug the mic.
Content.
You know, it's great content. You know, like so, like from a
horrible for America, but boy,
fantastic.
I was about to bring up the Rovell tweet, bro.
But it is.
Oh man, that's such an iconic tweet.
Yes, so like
such an iconic tweet.
I as someone like as we've seen like in the NBA with player podcast and like you've seen in the NFL with player podcast, like this has obviously become the norm, and it has certainly gotten certain players into like just deep shit like with their fan bases. Go ask Paul George what Philly fans think of him right now. You know, like, and it's like those are the type of things that are possible here, but just in the sense of like in the WNBA, I think it's a little bit different because we don't have the resources that those men's leagues have in terms of like someone that is always willing to like go and report, and players that are like kind of willing to like leak this stuff out. Doesn't happen really, like for whatever like various reasons and combination of reasons. So like from that perspective, I love it. From like the DeWanna Bonner perspective, I don't know how many times I'll ever say this in my lifetime, but like I kind of agree with Sophie. Like, you know, it's something where it's like we're here to a point like now that we know about it, and like because we had kind of been questioning like, yeah, we don't really know like what happened here, how it went down. Like it seems like it's best for both parties. We move. That was kind of the extent of the analysis that we could do. Now we have more, and for more information, I'll never really complain about having more information in the sense of something like this.
And it's interesting because we didn't even really get that much information. Like she really kept it very tame and very mild, and said she just left. She could have taken it to hell.
She could have.
And so for me, it's kind of like her doing a podcast, Aaliyah Boston doing a podcast. I feel like that should be the absolute limit. Like, and by limit, I mean like we're already at capacity. Because while I do feel like the Indiana Fever are hands down one of the most hated teams in the league, like people just don't like them for reasons. And so to me, it's like, if you already hate me, I'm gonna just do me. So I fully agree with it. I fully am okay with them leaning in and, you know, going full NWO and really just doing what they want to do and turning heel, if you will. Just be ready for that.
Never mind.
Type
Sorry.
it. But like, just be ready for what comes with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like everybody's got to get in the booth. That's actually really the fair point. And subscribe to our Substack, because Lore of the League, we're looking at one of the most underreported stories in the history of the WNBA. I'm gonna try and put that together and get, if I can find the stuff that I need for it. But we've got a good one cooking in Lore of the League. And you're not gonna want to miss that. So subscribe, because we're trying to do what we can to storytell, because we need people in the booth. There's too many unsolved mysteries in the W.
So let me say this. This is like that meme of like devastating. The worst person you know has made a great point. And let me say this, because I got some flack on the Sunday Rap Show about like my opinions on Sophie Cunningham, and to be honest, look, her politics, like I don't agree with them, but her politics on the whole don't bother me, because I'm not stupid enough to think that this league is a monolith in terms of how it is politically. Like it's a reflection of America, as is every workplace, there is going to be viewpoint diversity, for better or worse, in any room of multiple people that you are in. Like, it's just going to happen. So I don't agree with what her worldview seems to be. I don't love what her worldview seems to be, but that is not what my issue is with her. My issue is the platform that her worldview allows her to have. This is the closest analog I can think is like, this is if we made Jonathan Isaac famous. Like, do you remember when Jonathan Isaac, during the 2020 bubble, Jonathan Isaac was the only NBA player to stand for the national anthem, and it became this entire thing. And, you know, he's a career 5-point per game player in the NBA. And he went on a book tour. Like, he had this whole thing about it. And I think it's a little bit different with Sophie, because I think a lot of people gravitate toward the fact that she's an attractive woman. And I think that, you know, helps build out the platform in this league. But I also think that her worldview is such that, you know, it's very, people want to hear what she has to say in that respect, as opposed to what her contributions are on the floor, right? Like, I don't think in any other league you're asking a bench player about the CBA and you're aggregating that quote to the entire world like that. That doesn't happen. We might talk to Dylan Brooks in the NBA about him like doing a dirty play, or like him matching up against a star and being pesky with him, but we're not going to Dylan Brooks asking about the biggest problems that the NBA faces, right? And I think that's kind of where it is for her. Now, here's where I will give kudos and credit to where it's due. It's a podcast that I think fills in gaps, and it's a podcast that fills in blanks. You know, it is exactly what we've been asking for, because, I mean, Shawnee, you joke about this all the time in the group chat. Like, when Jordan Canada was on the LA Sparks, and like, you know, we're asking Jordan Canada like hard questions about shit, and it's like that's not your business. It's like, it is, because we're journalists. It's our business to figure things out. And so
right before I gotta go back to the game, like,
very,
thank you.
I know, right? But
and
like,
to be clear, this was about Liz Cambage. Let me know when it is okay to ask about Liz Cambage. Like, I still want to know what Liz Cambage says that was inaccurate. The time has not like expired. The window's still open. Please continue. I just need, since I'm out there, like, I need the full thing to be known.
The Liz Cambage legendarium is going to go so hard. But to get back around to this point is that the WNBA, when it comes to like the T, has always been a very insular league. It's always been very protective of letting that stuff get out into the public sphere, and people in media or people that are connected to the players, be it friends or parasocial hangers on, like, they'll always go on to social media and be like, oh, like, you don't even know the half of it. And it's like, well, what is the half of it? It's like, I'm not going to tell you, because I know things, and I'm around, and I'm important, and I'm around important people. And that was always a big problem with the league. Was that like
free agency? Anybody?
Literally. Like, let me crimp what Breanna Stewart is doing and put up fucking 15 different emojis, because I'm not actually sourced up enough to really put this out into the world. The thing that Sophie's podcast does well is it pulls back that curtain, and it completely flips what that insular nature of the league has always been. And I will say this, on top of some of the net good that podcast kind of has, is this is what makes rivalries. And we've been really caught up this week in this, like, Fever fans need to leave DeWanna Bonner alone, and she has the ability to do whatever she wants. And, you know, we are a league that throws a lot of defense behind players, for better or worse. And I think that there is a line and a limit between player empowerment and player entitlement. And I think that, you know, somebody like Sophie, to her credit, seems to understand like what gets people talking about the league, and where the structures can be broken down for the betterment of us and our ability to talk about the game, right? And to that end, I think the podcast that she has and her outspokenness is a good. And I think that having information like this come out about DB, it doesn't really make Sophie messy. I genuinely don't think it does, because when the WNBA is talking about crafting rivalries, and when we talk about fandom and how rivalries are created within fandom, it's shit like what DeWanna Bonner did that makes rivalries. And that is good for the league, is naturally occurring rivalries. The biggest beef that we've had with the Angel Caitlyn thing is that there are two players that don't play the same position that might have some degree of rivalry in like the public sphere, from, you know, the ring gesture to all the other stuff. That's a rivalry that the league was happy to jump on and try and manufacture for us, like try and make it bird magic and try and do this entire build this whole infrastructure around it. And now that the Fever and the Sky are in two completely different places as a franchise, we look back and realize how stupid that was, because we didn't allow the rivalry to organically grow. And that's why when people talk about why Paige and Caitlyn isn't necessarily a rivalry yet, it's because we haven't given it the ability to grow. We haven't watered the garden, so to speak.
Because the media didn't do it. Like, that should have been built their freshman year. I'll never stop saying this. I will never stop saying this. That should have been built out their freshman year. Same position, high level, high volume scores. They came in, hit the ground running, and won. It was the great white hope of in Paige. So now it's like, we're not comparing her to anybody else. Then she goes down, and Aaliyah Boston emerges as like the best player in college basketball at the time. Now it's like, well, is she better than Caitlin Clark? And it's like, hold on. Because I don't mind, like, this is my thing, because a lot of people kind of get the history wrong on, Caitlyn blew up after Paige went down. And it's like, yes, technically, but there was an element of racism and irresponsibility on the media's part for her rise, because you should have been comparing her to Paige, but you let Paige shine on her own. Why do you think she had to make that ESPY speech? Like, everybody credits her for the ESPY speech. Nobody pays attention to why she had to make the ESPY speech. And that's the part that bothers me. And to your point, yes, Kathy Engelbert has said she wanted rivalries. I'm tired of holding it down on my own. Like, I'm willing to beef with whomever. I'm willing to start stuff with any fan base imaginable. I am the Vernon Maxwell to y'all's Utah. I will stand in that. I will continue to be that. I'll fill in that gap. But yeah, we do need more healthy rivalries. And I like hate watches. I'm enjoying them watching the Mercury and preying on their downfall. I'm enjoying them watch the Wings and preying on that downfall. Like, I am enjoying these type of comparisons that have little to no societal consequences, right? Because like, I didn't get into the Sky Fever stuff. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I mean, though. It's like they built out Sky Fever on the basis,
and it wasn't sustainable.
We'll call it, correct, yes. And so I think here's with DeWanna Bonner, I think because of what we have gotten accustomed to in how broader media, but also how a lot of bad faith actors in the space on one end or the other, right? Like I say, like on one end of the spectrum, you have Jim Trotter, on the other end, you have Bobby Burrick and Outkick. Like that's the thing that I always bring up is like on both ends of the spectrum, you have people for Fever Sky that tried to build a rivalry based on all of the stuff off the court. And what ended up happening and what's happening now with this DeWanna Bonner thing is there's projection, at least in my opinion, from what that rivalry was manufactured to be between Fever and Sky, and assuming that the same thing is happening here now. Now, are there people within, fan bases that are absolutely going and taking it too far in regards to DB and how they talk about her? Yes. At the same time, I think the core of what Fever fans are upset about is perfectly valid within sports terms. Like, if a player did this in any other sport, we would be saying this is a chump move on their part. And, just because I approach it from the middle ground and say it clearly is a breakup that worked better for everyone because the Fever looked better and she looks happier, it doesn't mean that fans are invalid to be upset about the nature and how she left and how she conducted herself on the way out. And that's the stuff that actually builds rivalries. Like Fever Mercury now is a legit rivalry between its fan bases. There's enmity between the Fever fans and the Mercury as a franchise and AT and DB. And that's okay because what it now is rooted in is it's not rooted in AT saying something along the lines of, I've never experienced an environment like what we had in Mohegan Sun Arena during the playoffs because Fever fans came in and it created this whole issue. That's actually not the basis of where this rivalry lies anymore. It might have been one of the things that seeded it, but the rivalry now lies in the fact that DeWanna Bonner basically quit on this fucking team. And
if I could interject real quick.
Please do. This is what we need. This is how you build rivalries.
Because a lot of people are now defending DeWanna Bonner that were like absolutely degrading her at the beginning when she thanked fans for coming out and showing support for her moving up to third all-time leading scorer. I saw all types of Jim Crow era slurs being thrown by Sky fans and the like in terms of DeWanna Bonner for signing with Indiana. So then now they treat her like Nelson Mandela after she's left. Like, yeah, I the Fever fans, like y'all were the ones that made her lock her account. And I kind of get tired of this revisionist history because a lot of this, how it played out last year with the racism and stuff, it then turned into calling out the black players for even being associated with a franchise that drafted them. And I do not like that. You don't have to like them, that rivalry, but like the disrespect in that regard, like it's gotten to be way too much. Because in the one vein, you're saying like DeWanna Bonner is a legend and she can do what you want. But what are you calling Candace Parker right now for her opinion? You know what I'm saying? Like we can't have this both ways. So this has been a riveting episode of Ball Up Pop. Like, subscribe. Tell a friend to do the same so you're not missing a thing. I've said it before. I sound like a broken record. Go to our Substack. Go to our Substack so you can get the hottest takes, things that you've seen, the passionate pleas, the lore of the league, all of that good stuff. As soon as it hits, it'll be right in your inbox, fresh, ready to help you in the literacy crisis. We've got videos coming. We've got Overtime Select. Overtime Select is ramping up. We got some stuff coming on that. They play again this weekend. Be on the lookout for that. Go to our socials, man. What we got? Bluey. We got Twitter. We got TikTok. We got Instagram. Hit the buttons on all of those. Make sure you're seeing. Oh yeah, we find us on Facebook. Find us on Reddit. Find us.
If there's a platform, we're probably
stars
there.
on Apple Podcasts. Get that number up. Get that rating number up on Apple. Hit us with 5 stars.
Hey, and do it while I'm hosting. Let's cook the numbers. I'm stat padding right now.
She is stat padding.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
All right, I'm ending it before I get injured. So we thank you for joining us. All hearts and minds are clear, and we're out of here.